What if you could sit down with someone from another culture? What if hearing the way they experience life, things that brought them joy, or the moments in their life that changed the way they saw humanity actually changed your view of the world? What if their story gave you more confidence in sharing your own, or more grace in hearing another's? What if it allowed you to see your fellow human and understand that you are a fellow human? I believe humanity holds love and beauty, and I've found it so deeply in these humans and so many more. Individuals that have changed the way I see the world. And I'm so honored to share one of them with you right now. Welcome to today's episode of Your Fellow Human. I'm your host, Liana. Today I want to introduce you to Matty. If you're watching this, Matty and I are here in an absolutely insane location. We are here in Jordan, in Wadi Rum, in the desert, and Matty is here along on a creator trip that I'm hosting, and I just have had the insane opportunity to just get to know him, spend real time with him. We met online previously, but just being in person, chilling, hanging, seeing how somebody is, he is just absolutely incredible. You're just such a joy, so fun, always have a smile for people, but you're also just extremely aware of people around you, really caring, very empathetic, very, just willing to do what needs to be done to help somebody else, to care, to offer, not just like support or encouragement to somebody, but like really constructive, like feedback. I think I really appreciate that in you. You have a really amazing and gentle way of just sharing, like, hey, this is going really well. Also, this would be amazing. And like in a way that I think is really a gift that you have. You're just such a light and a joy to be around. And I'm just like absolutely honored to call you a friend now, to have this time to hang, and that you're here. So thank you.
Yeah, you're making me tear up right at the beginning. But that's why I got the glasses on. But thank you so much.
No, thank you. Yeah, and it's been absolutely insane, and it's really an honor for me to get to sit down with you. We've just had such amazing chat so far, and to just get to share a little bit of that person with everybody here. So thank you for that. I'm excited.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This is my first podcast, so I'm super excited for that.
Go.
I'm sure you get that a lot, but so happy to be here.
Cool.
And thank you so much for bringing me out here, because I'm excited and honored to be on the pod.
Super excited. So I have a list of questions I work through with every guest. They're all just designed at getting to know you, your experience in life, your view of the world, and just who you are as a person.
Great.
So no stress, just chill, and we get to let people see a little bit of who you are.
Okay.
Awesome. So first one is, who do you define yourself as?
I define myself, this is an interesting one. I guess I would define myself as like an educator and creator. The reason for the two is like my background is in education. I've always I always looked up to teachers. I had amazing teachers. I was blessed to have that. Obviously we always had the ones that were like a bit of a struggle or we didn't align with, but I focused on the good, and the ones that actually inspired me, sent me to university, and ended up doing that for 4 or 5 years, and I taught in China for 8 years, so I'm an educator. I like teaching the learnings, and so by trade I'm a physical education and French teacher. And then of late, in the last 2 or 3 years, I really focused on this creative shift. I'm currently doing both, teaching and a lot of video and photo for businesses and brands that are looking to grow. So I really enjoy helping in that regard. And it's a form of education in itself, working with clients and stuff, which is really cool. A lot of them come in not knowing kind of where to start, and it becomes like a relationship, right, with that client. And you're teaching them so much. It's not just like, I'll do everything for you, hands off. Like a lot of times they need to help with pre-production and script writing, and you need to like really work together because there's a vision there. So I think I'm a lifelong educator, to be honest, but like I'm putting a creative spin on it and slowly shifting the trajectory of my career.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that does like so align with like how I've experienced you, and just like what you find like so much passion and joy in is taking something you love and teaching it to other people in some capacity, and how it benefits them. Like I think that's like, I think a mark of a great educator is not teaching somebody what you think they want to learn or what you think they should learn, but teaching them what they want to learn in a way that's absorbable for them.
Yeah, and I should have added too that like I'm a lifelong learner for sure. Like,
No, yeah, all of us.
that honestly, like that fuels me in my business, in my life. You know, with personal growth and everything. If I'm learning every day, it gives me purpose. It inspires me, and you know, those days we all have them. But we're on the couch when we're chilling with Netflix. That does not make me the next day inspired and wanting to grow. So
yeah, for sure, can feel that definitely. Yeah, that's super cool. Next one's easier.
Okay.
What is your favorite food?
Oh, nice. Okay, there are some simple questions here. I oftentimes have these chats when I travel with people and like countries for food. Number one's a hard one. I am absolutely loving the food here in Jordan. Like this is probably going to be in my top 5. It is in my top 5 for sure, but I like Japanese a lot. I just like it's light, it's easy, it's delicious, and I've been to Japan twice, so that was really cool. Indian, I like absolutely love Indian, Mexican, and I always say like the closest one to number 1 is Greek and Mediterranean.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we love food.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know too much what to expect here, but every meal almost like surpasses the next because you get to try some new type of dip or whatever. Or we were having pitas all trip, and then last night they surprised us with like some crispy, like deep fried ones, and it was just heavenly. So
yeah, we've been eating well.
Oh yeah, we've been eating good.
Doing all right.
Yeah.
Are you reading anything right now?
Okay, so I don't like physically read a ton, but I love Audible. And of late, I learned that like you retain more information if you listen and read. So yeah, for me, Mindset Mentor is a podcast that I listen to. And it's like 15 minutes a day. My friend put me onto it, and 15 minutes a day, and it just talks about like personal growth and the journey. And it's like a good reminder, a reset, almost like to practice gratitude every day in what you have, but also learn something every day. And it's like a lot of the stuff is review, you know, because he'll go over it. But he just came out with a book, which is called Level Up. And it's been incredible. I listened to the whole thing, then I just purchased the book, and it came from Amazon like a day before I came out here. I didn't bring it with me, but it's going to be my like holy Bible for sanity in the creative and business, you know, sphere. So I think what I'm going to do is just like once a month go back to that book, dive through it, listening and reading at the same time, retain as much as I can, because it's a good like guide, you know, because like oftentimes we're on a great path, something will happen, and then for 2 or 3 days we're in a funk, and it's just like in my mind I'm like, damn, I'm wasting time, you know. I'm always trying to get ahead. So if like I go back to parts of that book, I love that. And then there's an author, Austin Kleon, who's kind of like focuses on creatives and artists in general, and how to kind of inspire them through quotes. Every second page has like quotes and stuff on it. So that one's, I think it's like Finding Your Way. It's like a creative one, but he also does Steal Like an Artist and Show Your Work. So yeah, that's really my genre of reading.
Sure, that's cool. Yeah, I think sometimes the like things that people are like, it can feel redundant, but like sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to be like reminded of things that we can like reference back to and be like, yeah, okay, this is in my like my learning wheelhouse and my what I'm going for. So yeah, those seem awesome. I'm always like the never-ending list of adding these books to my list.
Yeah, for sure. I always say I'm like Dory too. My family gives me a hard time because I have just terrible short-term memory. Like it's so trash. So I'll read a book, feel so inspired, and like a day later it's like, fuck, I need to go back, you know? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. What would you say is your greatest fear?
My deepest fear. We've done some like team building on this trip, and some really good ones have come up. And that Mindset Mentor guy, Rob Dial is his name, who does that Level Up book that I'm reading. Matt, who is also running this trip with you, he said this in the circle the other night, but like not reaching our full potential. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's that idea that you just didn't like quite do what you could have done or should have done or were here to do.
Yeah, and in a way, by like pushing myself every day, like I'm fighting that fear, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah, being here is fighting that fear.
yeah,
Living every moment.
exactly. A lot of people have fear of heights and stuff. Like I know you mentioned that this trip, and I've seen it a few times. We were at Petra, you were on the edge, you're like, Matty, I need your hand. and I was like, okay, no worries at all. But like that's you facing your fear, right?
Yeah.
And so for so many of us, it's just like that constant learning and pushing ourselves every day to be, 1% better, or who knows, like even like 0.1. Like some days are tough, but you can always find that silver lining in the day, right? That, like, how am I better today?
For sure.
Yeah,
I know, it's always helpful for me with that. Like I'm always like, all right, I need to face this one. So I'm like, Colleen's the best with that. She's like, you're fine, you got this, go.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's an inspiration.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
On the other end of that, what would you say you value the most?
For me, I think I travel a lot, but this is like kind of opposite of that. Like I value my family so much, and it's been kind of difficult like the last like 8 to 10 years now on the road constantly. And now I got nieces and nephews, and I'm trying to be there more for them. So I value that a lot, big time.
Yeah.
And you can tell I'm getting a little emotional, but
And that's good. It's good to have that, like, that connection and that love, knowing that it's mutual in both ways. And
yeah, it's special when we're together for sure.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
And then distance makes the heart grow fonder too. So
yeah. And I know, we were able to get some messages out finally the other night, because last few days really haven't been able to get in touch with anybody. And timing wise, there's a lot going on in the area that we're in, and a lot of more concern maybe for you. So being able to make sure that they know that everybody's good, and also just missing them for sure. So,
yeah, for sure. I do value like new experiences, travel. Like it's trips like this that make me value travel. But I think I've voiced this to a lot of like to everyone on this trip so far, is just like traveling solo I respect so much, because like when I do it, it's just like don't feel like whole completely, right? It's fun, and like you got to get out of your comfort zone in some ways, but I'm like more so a social person, and I vibe off other people's like energy. So kind of like one person is great, 2, 3, 4, like I could just like get along with different types of people, and like I like feeling the big energy from bigger groups, and it comes with challenges traveling with 10 instead of 2
for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
But there's so many things in life that I value, but family, new experiences, and I value the health of me and the people I love too, like, because that's again back to practicing gratitude. It's hard to do, but we're nothing without our health. So
big time for sure. Yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah, connecting with you, having you here, and just we have a sick team of people here, but the value of those connections and the people and all that for sure.
Yeah.
When was the last time you felt joy?
Last time I felt joy. Well, recency bias says like this whole trip. I think, this whole thing, like this is my kind of like revitalizing, like I never want to get like too comfortable to where I stop doing experiences like this. And I just moved back to Canada. It's been like just over a year now, probably coming up on a year and a half. And after 8 years abroad, that's like where there's so much freedom and so much variety in life. I was worried about slowing down, and I experienced some reverse culture shock a little bit from 8 years away. That was fine, but it was a slower pace. So what keeps me going is like always having that next thing planned. And sorry, what was like the original question?
When was the last time you felt joy?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
So where I was going to with that is like this, like making time for this, making time for meeting new people, having new experiences. And honestly, like specifically, last time I felt joy was yesterday. We were drifting in the desert with our new friend Rakan. He also goes by Alibaba, and like he had like this like the King's praise song on, but it's like it kind of goes hard, like it's like an awesome track.
It rips. Yeah.
It rips. It's got bass. Like it doesn't seem like too traditional, but like so I learned this song and we were ripping in the desert, and I was with my boys, and it was just like moments like that where you're kind of like you're connecting with locals. Like I was in Indonesia this year; those were like definitely the sickest moments. But then sharing those with the people who are on these trips, who are like new friends or kind of new friends, but you know that are going to be lifelong.
Yeah.
Another, and I'll just say one more thing, is we slept under the stars as a group, like the 10 of us or whatever, like 2 nights ago now.
Yeah.
And that was just absolutely incredible to share that experience with everyone. The dinner, the socializing, actually we learned to dance.
Yeah.
we smoke hookah with like the locals, like with Rakan again, and they're just so inviting. So yeah, just kind of vibing with different cultures, like that's incredible.
Yeah, like so much joy.
Yeah, so much. This whole trip has been like kind of nonstop that.
But Rakan loves to rip that truck in the desert though, man. Oh. You guys were flying.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
We were taking off and he was like, I was driving the last car and he's like, keep up. We're not waiting for you. And I was like, oh boy.
That's true, actually. Coming back from that hike, I looked at Colleen's face. She's like, oh my God, like, is this happening?
We were flying. I was like, this car is going to break in half.
Yeah, no kidding.
That
good. Was fun though.
That's awesome. When was the last time you were afraid and why?
Last time I was afraid, maybe as soon as the departure of this trip, right? There's pressures from family and friends, like, just stay safe. For me specifically, like family was like a little bit concerned. And then like a pilot I know like brought up that like, this is a little crazy, we're coming here and stuff, but like everyone has their own comfort zone. I find I can push my threshold a lot. However, like I said, I vibe off other people's energy. So if people I love are telling me one thing, I really start reanalyzing where I was mentally. But, there was not a moment where I just wasn't going to come on this trip. But yeah, traveling, I had to like face my fear in traveling solo again, so I had a layover in Amsterdam. Some of the flights and everything were rocky. Like like anyone, I get a little anxiety with flying and that kind of thing. And then once I touched down and was with like people, Matt and Colleen were waiting at the airport for me, some friends that I was with in Indonesia, and it's like everything just comes to it like becomes peaceful again, right? Like it's calming to like see familiar faces and then like experience this together. And not once have I felt any like fear after being here. You know what I mean? We've had some like difficult situations, but even then I was like pretty chill comparatively. So yeah, pre-trip, little bit of anxiety. So many people can relate to that, I'm sure. Just with world issues, and even I'm not the best flyer, even though I've flown a lot, but yeah, I guess that's it.
Can relate, but for sure. No, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah,
that's cool. Would you say that there's a moment in your life that changed you or taught you something?
Oh, that's a really good one. A moment in life that changed me. Yeah, one comes to mind. That's it was kind of like spontaneous in a way. I had just graduated UVic, so university, with my bachelor's of education, and because I had French, it was easier to get a job in BC right out of the gate. However, British Columbia was like very difficult, and competitive to find work in the teaching field. So I was like, I could stay because I have French and just get started here, take the safe route. But I had some friends who were teaching in Shanghai, China, and for me it was kind of a priority to travel, and the fact that they invited me out there, and like if I signed the contract in that moment, I could do both. I could travel and I could work towards my career. It was kind of a no-brainer. But that was hard for me, like first big solo trip. I went for 1 intending on staying max 2, and I stayed for 8. So that's pretty incredible, and it was certainly a defining moment for sure. My family was super supportive, and it was pretty incredible because like it reshaped the trajectory of my life in a big way.
For sure.
So that was pretty special, and like it certainly led me to trips like this and meeting people like you. So I'm like super thankful for that.
That's cool. Yeah, it is like those big like life moments. I feel like graduating and finding your first job in your career, and then like travel. and then moving, and you like combined all of those in one. And I was like, I'm just gonna do them all at once, and it's really gonna like, it's so cool to see how that, I'm sure, has shaped you into just like the awesome human being that you are, the way you see other people, value other culture, and have that ability to teach from a multicultural and multifaceted perspective.
Yeah, that's right. It's broadened my horizons for sure. And you're right, I jumped in all at once. I'm like, let's just get this all out of the way.
Do it now.
Yeah. And then, it did teach me culture. And someone asked me at a wedding last summer, they were like, what is like, of all your travels, what's like the number one takeaway? And for me, it just has to be back to the connecting with different cultures and the people from that, seeing how they live and seeing people like in what we would deem to be severe poverty, the happiest people in the world, like especially in the islands in the Philippines. Like it's just incredible. Like it's from the youth to the elderly, like everyone is just so happy, great energy. And that's not it. It's like when I see poverty around the world, they are just living within their means, and because of that, and a lot of them don't know what else is out there, and it says a lot about like how in North America and other parts of the world we live in excess. So it has taught me gratitude through seeing people in poverty and thriving, mentally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, to see people happy with things that we feel like we couldn't live without.
Yeah. We're almost like, sometimes I would argue that like we live way better lives, like in terms of like prosperity. However, like we struggle with more like mental illness.
Yeah, for sure.
Know?
Yeah.
And I don't know that for a fact. It's just what I visually see.
Yeah, it's your experience with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you've known me not super long,
no.
But like I feel like when you travel on these things, it's like, all right, we see everything.
Yeah, that's so true.
But what is something you think you and I have in common?
Ooh, I think we're both, to some degree, leaders. Like, this is your business, this is what you do. But I also consider myself like a little bit of a leader in some ways. I don't take on that identity, but when it's required, like, it does come out of me. So I think we're both in tune with people, like you prefaced at the beginning of this podcast, which is like a very special trait. Like, growing up, like, I think I was lucky to innately have some of that. Some of it is learned. But I didn't realize like the power behind it in terms of connecting with people.
Yeah.
So I think we definitely both possess that. And it's super special. I'm very grateful to be the human I am, and I'm sure you feel the same about yourself.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, you do. You have a natural like leadership quality where you're seeing something, taking initiative, stepping into it, caring for others, and that.
Yeah. And
I always say like the mark of a good leader is like, caring for those around them and making sure that people have what's needed, not that they're the front. So that's cool. Yeah. Awesome to share some things like that with you.
For sure. Yeah, we've really connected this trip, and it's been super nice.
Big time, for sure.
Yeah.
What is something you're looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? I guess like the holidays. Like if I'm thinking like pretty soon here, get back. Like I love the Christmas season. Being with the fam again, that's going to be amazing. And then looking forward to 2024. So like kind of like a chill December, but 2024, like every year I kind of want to go like harder than the next, So we talked about like working with more businesses and brands and helping them in any capacity that they need that like I'm an expert in.
For sure.
But also like kind of defining like a business path for me. I work with like some travel outdoors brands. Like I'm working with like a fitness studio, like a gym in Victoria, BC, where I live. It's and then I'm working with like gear companies because I have a YouTube channel that discusses, I'm kind of like a gearhead, right? Camera lenses, lighting, audio, bodies, stuff like that. So I'm kind of here, there, and everywhere, and my mind is always scattered. I've learned that it's like not a terrible thing, but I've learned with a mind like that, the more you can hone in on clarity and focus and find direction, the more successful I become.
Yeah.
So it's like, unfortunately, you can't just snap your fingers and it's done. It's like, for me, it's a lot of mind mapping and just like, it's like getting my thoughts on paper and then from there, creating clarity. And then it's even harder because like now you have the plan on paper, but then you need to carry it out. And you need to catch yourself when you're like, well, I'm drifting away from what I said I would, right? So I guess what I'm what I'm excited for in 2024 is like, I really like teaching. I'm a lifelong educator, but like proving to myself that I'm able to run a business, be an entrepreneur on my own, but full time. So right now I have a career in teaching, and it's really nice. I can pick up and go. It's a teacher on call type thing. Go into work today or not, and answer the phone or not, and like I'm not letting anyone down. So like I'm in a blessed situation, you know. And I said that to a friend. I'm like, I just feel so lucky, and she's like, actually, Matty, like you carved your own way. You made it so that like you actually have this flexibility to start a business stress-free right now. It's a blessing and a curse. Like we talked about it last night right before bed, is like I have a tendency, and I think a lot of people do, to not jump 2 feet in, and it's recognizable when people do it because it's inspirational. But for me, I have a tendency to like tiptoe on that side, and then like, oh, I'm feeling more comfortable, maybe I'll get like put the other foot in, you know. So yeah, maybe next year jumping more like feet first in my business.
No, I'm excited to like see how that goes, and I know you can. I know you got it. So yeah, here to help you out any way as I can. But excited to see you take that full jump because man, you're ready and you got it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Keep doing big things with it. Yeah. On the other end of that, what is something you wish was over already, or maybe didn't exist in the world today?
This is a good one. And like I've been talking to Liana, sorry. I always get, but we were talking, and Matt, he said there's one question that kind of stumps people, and like this would be my guess. So could I hear it one more time?
Yeah, sure. No, is there anything you wish was over already, or maybe didn't exist in the world today? If you could snap your fingers and something just disappears.
I always struggle with some of these like docs I see on like cobalt mining and getting lithium ion power and stuff like that, and like how everyone tunes it out because like on the other end of it, it's like, no, we're helping the environment, we're all shifting electric, but then there's slavery, you know, there's humanitarian issues with that, even though we're helping the environment, and everyone says like this is innately good, you know, we just got to produce more, we got to improve this technology. So what I would wish that is like eradicated from this world is maybe in a way like corrupt people who find that okay and treat people like ants instead of humans. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty harsh stuff. And like I was in lockdown in Shanghai in 2022 when they finally took COVID serious. It was weird. We were free for 2 years. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, Shanghai's locked down for, they first told us 4 days, ended up being like 73 days in our apartment on lockdown. It was just pretty wild with no information or direction on how the situation is progressing from the government. It's just like 4 days, pack food for that. And then it ends up being 73 with like no word. So that was like a test of mental patience. I was fortunate enough to be in a position where we could get food. I was fortunate enough to be with people, but I know people who had to go through that struggle alone. And back to like treating people like not humans. There were a lot of like blockades and stuff, like so people couldn't exit after the 4 days, but people started getting starving, and that was a little bit crazy for me to see like mobs of people trying to escape their compound because they weren't being fed by their government. You know what I mean? So that was pretty harsh. Yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. Essentially, like I wish there was more compassion. I don't understand how like people that I surround myself with could be like one extreme, and then that could be the other is like extreme greed, and literally zero empathy. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool to get rid of. I think that would solve a lot of the world's problems if everyone was just more free to be themselves and felt supported by, you know, the country that they're in. I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, for sure. I can align with that one, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hit pause a second. We'll check that real quick.
Sure.
You want to do it? All
Yeah,
right, cool.
this is good. This is like a counseling session.
Sorry if I look like I'm really serious at you. I'm just squinting because I can't see.
Okay, we're still recording. Everything's good.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
jump right back in then.
Yeah,
Good.
do you want water?
I'm okay. I'm going to angle my chair like this a little. So I stop looking like I'm like glaring at you.
Come in a bit too.
I'm going to go like this. There we go. Actually, I'll do that part afterwards so there's some congruency as to how my legs got.
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, good?
Yeah, we're good. Okay. We're live.
What would you say makes you feel known and valued?
Known and valued. I immediately, like, the love languages came to mind.
It's so funny. So many people say that.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe it's like the phrasing of the question, but essentially for me, I would say I feel valued when, like, words of affirmation, acts of service are actually really big for me too, to like know that, like, because I give so much, when I have the ability to like just know that someone loves me and they'll do anything for me, that's powerful. And then I really like conversation, communication. Sometimes it's difficult, like especially if there's conflict at all in the relationship. But I'd say overall communication is really key. So to be able to like just connect with someone and sorry, I got lost.
No, you're good.
Oh yeah, words of affirmation. So to be able to connect with someone, and even if the conversation like of conflict or whatever and things aren't going well in the relationship, if it comes back to, like if it comes back to love, from a place of love, like I think a lot of people take things personally and get ego hurt a little bit, and then like you're not able to have closure. I think that could be difficult. But I think if things end on good terms and everything is laid out on the table, I think that's powerful. Like, so really, like, I guess what I'm saying is like when people voice their love for you, I think that goes a long way, even if there's been struggle in the relationship. So yeah,
people taking the time to communicate like who you are to them, what they value in you. It's like, okay, like we like being seen and like understood for who we are and valued for who we are.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we're here in Jordan. I know you're coming all the way from Canada, but where do you call home, and what makes it home to you?
Home for me is definitely Vancouver Island, BC, because it was that until I was like 19 or 20, and then it was Victoria, BC, but it was still the island, and I have the island literally tattooed on my arm. So yeah. But what's funny in that question is, if you can see here, it's like Vancouver Island is the clouds, but Shanghai is the skyline. That's sick. So it's actually like my two homes, because Shanghai shaped me, but like Vancouver Island will forever be my home, right? So yeah, I think for sure those would be, it's got to be Vancouver Island, and it's where I'll end up, I think, too. I don't think I'll ever stop doing things like this, traveling, having like new experiences. I'm always looking forward to the next thing. I already have like Edinburgh booked for next year and stuff. Probably have things before that even, but if I have the next thing in mind, it's great, and I'm so happy to call Vancouver Island home. And my goal too, I should have said that too in the other question, was I've always wanted to own land and own a home, and I'm talking with the mortgage broker right now to like kind of how that works in terms of financing and pre-approval. So I think for next year, I think in the next 2 years I'll own, and in Campbell River, and then it's where I'd want to end up, because it's where all my close family and friends are, and yeah, it's honestly beautiful. Yeah, that's awesome. Haven't visited that one yet, so now I've got a reason to. Yeah, if you're in the outdoors, landscapes, ocean absolutely everywhere. Yeah, hiking, cool. Camping, like it's really beautiful for that. It's awesome. Yeah, very cool. What is something you wish you didn't struggle with? Okay, I think clarity. Like going back to that is like, I found again, like so many people can relate to this, and I know because like I voice this with people, but like my mind just like fires like crazy. Like it's like for good and for bad. Like it allows me to like sometimes like subtle flex here, be quick-witted, you know what I mean? But then it's like it's like, whoa. The other side of it is like, man, like how are you ever going to like find direction and success like we talked about in business and know your way? And I think sometimes it's like we feel alone in that, but the more I voice it, the more I realize that like everyone is kind of going through that a little bit. Some people are just better at taking action on it though, you know? So I struggle with lack of clarity at times in terms of my purpose and what I want going forward. So, but that's the ongoing pursuit that I am in like self-development journey right now. It's like essentially like purpose is like a never ending thing, right? So it's like I want it tomorrow. I want to know so I can just like act on it. But it's like that's naive to say that like I'm just going to find it tomorrow. So it's like it's ongoing, and I think everything just like will run its course. And sometimes like I struggle with like, oh, like I spent too many years like living this way of life, you know, where I could have been like progressing, like, or I wish I would have started my business like at 25 instead of 30, right? I think that's super common. But like to summarize, I think it's really important for us to just realize that like timing's everything. The best time to start is now. And yeah, just kind of like keep grinding away with that. It's like the past is the past, so but what we can do is we can work hard every day to kind of like change some of those, like I wouldn't even call them regrets, but like to reshape my identity. You know, I think, and like back to your question, reshaping my identity is something that I'm doing right now a little bit, because like used to be all about like fantasies. Like I am becoming a different person. No joke. If I'm being like really raw, like I would like party quite a bit like in my earlier days, and I still enjoy like a good drink and stuff, but like it's like I kind of feel like that got me behind. But all those experiences led to like lifelong friends, amazing travel, and all I cared about like on like the passion project side was like less about like what I do now, which is photo, video, connecting with people from different cultures. Like I would be hype on like basketball fantasy drafts and like NFL and NHL. Like I was kind of a bro, and I still am, like in a way. It's just like that'll never leave me, you know what I mean? But like but what I was talking to a friend on Vancouver Island briefly the other day, and she was saying like you have a core of who you are, and then you start somewhere, and then you start shedding those layers and getting just like closer and closer to that core in finding it. And yeah, I'm just like peeling layers off to like really find out who I am, because I don't know, I was like less willing to push myself in those days, and I was just like free and easy, a bit more naive to what's going on in the world, less educated. It's scary like diving into your own path and diving into your own you know, mental health, you know, and like just trying to learn direction and all this. Like it's hard and it's scary sometimes, this journey of like self-development, right? But I think it's all worth it. Even if it like throws you for a loop at the beginning, you just feel like so much more genuinely yourself. And after like the initial stages, I think you can be a lot more expressive and do more in the world and share more and impact people's lives, you know, instead of just like doing things because it's easy, and that might be a little bit more selfish, right? Yeah, for sure.
No, I really appreciate you sharing that. I think it's like there's things like that where you can be like, well, I'm at this point in my life and this person's younger than me or in a different place, and they're further ahead of what we perceive. And so we're like, okay, like, you know, maybe I should feel like I'm here instead. And being able to talk about that and share that openly, like, it's just, there's so much value in that for anyone listening, to just realize like, oh wow, like I see his work and who he is as a person, and he feels that way or has felt that way. Like I'm allowed to feel that way. Like it's okay. It doesn't mean I'm not. Like we're all growing and like moving forward in that. And yeah, I think it's like it's honing in on, like you said, like with those layers, but it's also honing in as those layers come off on like how we use who we are to like the best ability. So it's like, yeah, that may be an overactive brain, but like learning to hone it, learning to like direct it and guide it and put action to it, because like, man, once that's set, like look out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
really
true.
Cool.
Yeah, you're like a caged animal and just like let you free, right? So
yeah,
that's super cool. One last thing I'll add while we're on this topic is like imposter syndrome. The amount of times I hear that, like, if I had a nickel for every time I heard that someone has imposter syndrome, I'd be a rich man. But with that, I think, of course, I've struggled with it, and you literally just have to power through. I don't know if I love the term fake it till you make it, but it's like educate yourself till you make it, Start at zero. You're not faking anything. You're just educating yourself along the way. And people vibe with your organic, innate personality.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to do something and pretend that you're an expert in it, people are very aware, and, and like it's going to hinder your success. So with that, I think it's just like really important for us to take a breath, be ourselves, educate ourselves. If we're trying to start a TikTok channel on being a photographer, and there's millions of better photographers out there, just be really raw in what it's like being a beginner level photographer, the struggles that you face, because you're going to connect with a massive audience of people trying to do the exact same thing as you. So again, I don't love the term fake it, but keep learning until you kind of overcome that, because it might feel like you're never going to overcome imposter syndrome. And it's true, because if you jump to a new craft, it's going to be hard. But if you put in like the 10,000 hours, like they say, in a skill, I promise you that imposter syndrome like really starts to fade. Even if you meet people, like there were so many creatives I looked up to on this trip that in my mind just absolutely crush it and like are far more gifted than me. But then you come to a trip like this and you realize you have your own strengths and stuff, and you can learn from them. So it's all pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I think like that imposter syndrome and then the term fake it till you make it almost like feed off of each other.
Yeah.
Because then we're like, well, what am I, if I'm faking it, then I don't deserve to be there, or I'm not really in it. And it's like, no, but it's like you said, like educate it until it's real. Like, believe it until it's true. Like, or push forward into it until it's what you're doing. But like, if you are like, oh, I'm not really a photographer because I'm not as good as this person. If you take your camera and you go out and you create something, you're a photographer.
Yeah.
So it's not a fake. It's a truth, and you're speaking it and you're doing it. And so I love the way you put that. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I think where I did learn that from was personal experience. And like when I started my YouTube channel, mad imposter syndrome, didn't know what I was doing. But like where I am now 2 years later, if nothing comes of YouTube, it built my skill set so much in terms of like what I'm able to do behind a camera, post-processing and editing, and then also breaking. I'm still not quite there. Like I'm being raw and vulnerable right now, but like on my own channel, I can't do that because it's like, I don't know. It's something that like I've gotten way better at, which is really good, but it's like a constant pursuit for sure. So
yeah, you're still growing into it and still moving forward and seeing where you want to let it land.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, it's awkward to just put on a camera in a room by yourself and just go at it and be like, I'll talk to you like I'm talking to a friend because I'm supposed to, and I'm just supposed to be myself. But, like, at the end of the day, it's kind of weird. and sometimes, like, I have a shell. But, like, but I'm obviously way better. You go back and look at, like, my first videos. It's just, like, pretty cringe, but you have to do it to get somewhere. You just got to start.
For sure. What is something you're confident in helping someone else through or with?
I think I'd be confident helping anyone through, like, certainly something that I've struggled with, like anything that I've struggled with, like, would give me like a better perspective. I don't want to give people advice on things that, like, unfortunately I can't, so I'd be open and transparent about that. But I've been able to help my friends, like, just kind of like build them up, help them re-become the best version of themselves when they've hit pitfalls before. And so, yeah, I think that's what I'm able to do, is I'm able to allow people, like, reach deep down, because they obviously can't do it on their own. Reach deep down, realize, like, who I was, what I've become, and then how I can change that. And I've been successful a few times, like, kind of like reshaping people's paths, or they were going this direction and kind of like pulling them back a little bit and like, no, it's actually go straight or go left. So like that's powerful to know, and like to see those people succeeding now is like super cool.
Yeah, very much so. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's always like so cool to have those people in our life that are able to like listen, hear us, help us, guide us, but not in a commandeering way, but in a gentle way.
Yeah, I think that's so important too, because like you do have real conversations through that process, because you have to, especially in the initial phases. Like, yeah, like I would, like in some of the situations I was potentially going to lose a friend, right? Lifelong friend. So yeah, it's cool to see people get back on track and know that I was a part of that, and likewise, like those people then reciprocate that to you.
Yeah.
So much. So
very much.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this one's a fun one.
Yeah, okay. I like fun. I'm very two-sided. Like, you can probably hear my voice in this whole pod. It's like, oh, he's getting emotional, a little broken up there, and then but I like this too. Like,
you're such a real person, and I so appreciate that about you. That like everywhere along the way with any situation we've been in, like I said, you're just like, you're there. You feel deeply. You're not afraid to let people see that, but you're also just like, I'm here to like let's bring the joy, let's bring that, but not in an ignoring the reality situation, and just like, yeah, these are all my facets.
Yeah,
here I am.
Right.
So
yeah,
I love
that's
it.
True.
Yeah, for sure. But okay, all right. If I were to give you $10,000, you have 2 weeks to spend it. You cannot give it away. What are you gonna do with it?
Okay, 10 grand. Can't give it away. This is good. Can I take my family like on a trip and add some money myself?
For sure.
My parents were able to come out to Thailand, which was really cool. My mom came to China, but my brother and sister haven't been able to travel with them, and that'd be super cool. So I'd probably pick a place, plan a trip, see if they're down, bring my nieces and nephews, my brother and sister's significant others, and just vibe.
That's awesome. Super cool. Where do your siblings aligned in the...
In like the order?
Yeah.
So I'm the Oreo cookie. I'm in the middle, like the middle of the Oreo cookie, and then my sister is 2 years younger. My brother's 1 year older. It's like 14 months or something.
Okay.
So crazy close in age.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get along with both of them very well. However, they are different people, like vastly different people, you know. So that's really cool, and yeah, to see how far they've come, and they've honestly blessed me and my family with the kids. It's cool. It's pretty incredible. Brings joy to my life for sure. Yeah. All of ours. So yeah, they're special people for sure.
For sure. That's
yeah,
awesome.
We'd go on a big old trip.
All right. Well, here's to winning the lottery.
Actually, you know what? 10 grand's not crazy.
It's not crazy, but it's a nice thought.
I just got to be a bit more successful in my business.
No, you get there. Yeah. For sure.
And one last thing I'll add, like 10 grand, I might be able to buy like a fixer-upper, like old Chevy square body truck, and have my brother and dad help me like fix it up. Kind of cool. But I'm close too, because I want to do like a project with them, because they're really good with their hands. They're tradesmen. I'm kind of other end of the spectrum a little bit. Be really cool to like vibe out on a project with them, and that might be the home too. I might buy like a fixer-upper, and they'd be able to help me with that. It'd just be really cool to share that experience. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if I have to connect you with Mike, because he's got a old square body Chevy that has had way too much love and care to it. So
that's so funny. I brought that up then.
Yeah, that is. It kind of made me laugh. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome though. Super cool. All right. I'm not sure if you do, but is there anything you wish you could say to somebody you love, but maybe they're not in a place that they would hear it the way you want them to, or receive it for the heart that you'd intend it? But if you were to say like, hey, like, I really wish you knew this, and they were just to say like, okay, I accept that, I'm gonna take action on it or press into it, what would you share?
What would I share? I think this one's tough for sure. I think I'm kind of stuck on this one for now.
It's fair. You can always pass.
Yeah, let's pass on this one.
Okay, no problem. What would you say makes you feel at peace?
Makes me feel at peace. A lot of people would say like, and I've been practicing like mindfulness, meditation, all that kind of stuff this year, and it's pretty cool and it's peaceful, and I've had like literally experiences where I'm like, it feels like you're floating and you're tingly, and like it's it's awesome, especially for like a hyperactive brain like myself, just to calm it. I think it's like brings the body back and the mind back, and it's like really cool. So that's one. But actually where I'm most at peace is in group settings. What I'm learning, which is weird because it's usually chaos. You know, we've had things on this trip change all the time, like here, there, everywhere. You know, some people get sick, some people are here, you know, and there's different energies and vibing, but like for some reason that's why I feel most at peace. If those people are like-hearted to me, like in terms of like they have the same moral compass and agenda. They don't need to like have I think I was sharing with you the difference between like heartedness and like mindedness, right? Like mindedness could be like, oh, you're a photographer, so we should get along. But it's like, no, like we actually don't, unfortunately, because we're different people. But like then someone could be like a marine biologist, and then with that, and they're not a photographer, but we really get along. That's the like-heartedness. So I think if I'm in a group of people, even if it's big and we're all like-hearted and just vibing, that's when I'm most at peace, because it's like flow state. And I reach flow state when, like on a few other things, like creatively, when I'm shooting, especially if it's something that I'm super passionate about, I'll just get lost in it, which is really cool. And like I'll end up shooting something like a 3-4 hour session on video, and it's just like I snap my fingers and I'm back. And it's because you're fully present, and the mind goes numb. There's another, I'm lucky to have a few. The other one is basketball. When I get on the basketball court for like 45 minutes or an hour while I'm playing, it's just everything is gone, and I'm just hooping, you know? So like that's actually insane. And then flying drones, you know? So the creative stuff, basketball, and then like-hearted people vibing on energy, even if it's a chaotic situation. I often feel at peace knowing that like everything's going to be okay, if that crew is like willing to work through whatever challenge that trip has given them. Yeah,
for sure. No, I love that. I think it's cool. I love that there's multiples. I think we have like a physical, emotional, like a mental, spiritual side to each part of us, and when we can find peace in each of those aspects, it's like where all of us come together. Like as a person, we come together completely to have that full like sense of peace. So it's like to have those outlets in each of those areas is like, I think, so awesome that you've like tapped into the awareness of that. That's huge.
And I think it's also important for a creative burnout, because like if I would have answered that question and I would have said, oh, for sure, like when I fly drones and shoot video and stuff, I think that's almost a detriment. If you only have one in your life, I think you're going to struggle, because like I think you just need to dig a bit deeper and really find things in other aspects, like not just your business or not just your passion. There's got to be like a few things that you can rely on. Otherwise, like the diversity is key in finding flow state, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're like diverse people. I always say, like, I think people in our industry being told like find your niche, it's like been one of the most detrimental things. Because I'm like, we're creatives, we don't really belong in a box, so we need to know how to diversify, how to have all those spaces and have all those areas to like really thrive. So I completely agree.
I think there's something to be said. Like I know why people talk about the niche, because it's a great starting point. And build a foundation of people who, doesn't matter what content you're going to post going forward, they followed you for you. And then because of that, then you can start sharing what else matters to you. So a friend showed me, I think it was Matt the other day, like a thing on Joe Rogan. And it was just like, they didn't follow Joe Rogan because that exact person was into DMT trips and UFO sightings and podcasting and MMA. Like it's really trippy with him. Like he'll do like celebrities, he'll do Elon Musk, but he always throws in tons and tons and tons of mixed martial arts people. And it's like, for me, that doesn't really align because I don't follow a ton. I'll watch the odd fight here and there. But it's like, that doesn't matter. I'm still going back to watch the content that I want on him. And to go a step further, sometimes, I'll download one for a flight and enjoy it. Right? Because it's just learning more about the person instead of just the sport. So, and then like the person that I sometimes enjoy listening to is themselves, right? So,
you hear a part of somebody that maybe they don't normally share within that space. But I think, no, having that, like that core value, I think just I see. Yeah, I value the nicheness of it.
Yeah.
But we can get distracted by the word of it and forget that what that value is supposed to mean. It's not supposed to mean don't do these things. It's supposed to mean like understand your core value in that. And like, yeah, you bring those people, like you said, like, yeah, but you also still get to listen and learn from something like that where you're like, I never would have heard this person if it wasn't for him going back to his like,
yeah,
what he's coming from.
That's why people who are like genuine, raw, organic, innately themselves, they'll succeed no matter what. Because like, yeah, it doesn't really matter your starting point. It's like, can people connect with you? And if people can connect with you, then you can just continue being yourself and it doesn't really matter. But if you pigeonhole yourself like that, again, can lead to burnout or not being able to find your purpose. And
For sure.
yeah, I'm somewhat stuck in that struggle a little bit, but like I'm going to keep on pushing until it like sorts itself.
Yeah.
If I don't stop, like I can't fail, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. Yeah, for sure. Big time. Would you say life feels steady or uncertain for you right now?
Pretty steady, like super steady, especially after like being more in Canada. I just don't want it to be like fully comfortable and like just steady, you know. I like the rocky, I like the turbulence, like I need that, right? Which is why I'm here, and which is why I plan trips well in advance and like just look forward to things, because like I love the unknown. And I've been able to, you know, have some incredible experiences in life, and some that were like very difficult, but like I've always made it out the other side, and that's what's super cool about it. And they all, those experiences shape you, like those difficult ones, right? What did our tour guide say the other day? He said something about if something is easy, it's easy to forget. If something is difficult, it's difficult to forget.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you learn from those experiences and you hold on to it for a bit longer, and it's good because it'll remind you of that gratitude that you need to get you through some of the future challenges.
Yeah.
But again, I like the unknown, I like the turbulences, and right now, at times, I do feel steady, because like I could just like be a teacher for the next 30 years, have a great pension, make good money, and just be happy there. But I question if I don't like fully explore the direction I'm going now. Yeah. One more thing is like business is going hand in hand with self-development with me right now. So it's like I'm not only growing a business, I'm growing as a person, and that's the best part of being an entrepreneur so far. Yeah,
I mean, and going back to how you started the first question of just like, you see, sorry, there's a fly.
Yeah, I know, they're all over my sandals.
If you're watching this, we got a lot of little buzzy friends around us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, it just goes back to what you said in the beginning of just like not wanting to regret something or miss out on something or not feel that potential. And so like, yeah, you could do that and be maybe like decently happy, but like there's that part of you that'd be like, but did I pursue?
Yeah.
Did I fulfill?
That's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. This is actually my loaded question.
Oh, this is the one. Okay.
So.
Let's hear it.
He was warned previously.
I was, yeah.
If you guys have been listening to the podcast for a bit, then you remember my friend Matt. Matt and I are actually co-hosting this trip together. Just awesome dude. And so Matt gave Matty a little heads up, and he's like, "There's one."
And I tried to guess, and I was wrong.
Well, you never know.
Let's hear it.
So if you were to share something with the opposite sex that maybe they normally wouldn't receive while coming from you as a man, whether it be a compliment, a criticism, something you wish they knew about themselves as women, something you wish they knew about men that maybe is understood or misunderstood, but something if you were to tell them, they would say like, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from, I understand that. There's value in that, and you wouldn't be judged or looked down upon or put in a bad place for sharing it. What would you share?
Wow, that is loaded. I'm going to need to hear it again.
That's okay.
Yeah.
If you were to share something with the opposite sex that normally they wouldn't receive while coming from you as a man.
Right.
Compliment, criticism, encouragement, however you would take that about them as a whole, about men as a whole. What would you want them to know if you could share something? They'd be like, we hear you.
Oh, got you. Well, first thing that came to mind, so I'll just touch on it briefly, is there's something that like I've always been like able to connect with women and men, which like is really cool. Some of my best friends, like all through middle school, high school, were girls, and there'd be like full groups of girls watching like a TV show. I think it was the OC, and they'd watch it like weekly on Thursdays, and we were like in grade 7, and I was the only boy invited, and it was just like, that was me. I was just like able to connect, and probably because my relationship with my mom is so good and all that. But so for the opposite sex, honestly, sometimes I find that, like, I think catty's the wrong term, but maybe you can help me find where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
I find bromance, like, with guys, like, so quick, and I've heard women touch on this a little bit in terms of not only, like, in the creative community, like, we are, like, there's a lot of competition there, and I think it's so good what you're doing with, like, your next retreats and offering that for women only and empowerment. I think that's necessary because I find having a sister, I've seen her have so many best friends and then turn to, like, not enemies, but, like, not even part of her life.
Yeah.
And I've never had that with a guy friend. So there's something mentally, like, in men that, like, we're a lot easier to, like, maybe just get over shit, or, like, to, like, have something go wrong, talk about it, and then, like, let go. And sometimes I find with women, like that's they're almost making it harder on themselves. And sorry, I'm generalizing here.
No, yeah.
Because there's so many women who have never lost a friend and never had those conflicts, and pretty much a similar experience to me and my guy friends, right? So I don't want to belittle that. However, through, you know, connecting with different groups of people, and it's just something that I've observed, and, like, I wish there was a way to, like, I don't know, just have, like, the past be the past, move on, like, as quick as men will when something goes awry, you know?
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong in your perception of that. It's something like Colleen and I, like, yeah, you mentioned Colleen, I am co-hosting a female-only creator trip for that reason, because there is that, like, that community aspect that it's so hard for women. In some ways it's hard for both, but yeah, I think maybe it's the societal, like, cultural pressure for women to look a certain way, be a certain thing, and do this, that there just feels like there's this higher level of competition. And then within that, but they can be, yeah, it's not unnormal for some women to, like, lose a best friend and have no connection in life, and it is a lot more rare in guys, I think. So yeah, I wish that wasn't there for sure, but I can understand that. I don't think your observation is off. Yeah, for sure. I don't know if it's communication based or not, because like, men have a tendency to, like, solve maybe, like, suppress some things a little bit more in terms of communication, but maybe not talk about it as much, and just be, like, cool with that. And again, generalization, but women are often really good at communication and with one another, but, like, but I don't know. I honestly, I wish I knew. If I knew, then I'd help if you figure it out, let us all know.
Yeah, I'll let all the girls in the world know what's up. But I'd be.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's different reasons for different people. There's always different aspects. We all have their different past experiences that impact how we feel about something. But I think, yeah, you're right. There is a level of communication that happens, and we don't do things perfectly.
Yeah.
So if we're inclined to communicate more, there's power in that. But there's also weakness in it, because sometimes we don't maybe think about how we're perceiving what we're about to share, or how that person's going to absorb what we're about to share, and that could cause deep hurt.
Yeah, it could be something to do with ego too, because, like, maybe you, like, overshare. Like, you're a girl and you're just, like, you're spewing and be like, you know what, this is bothering me, and this and this and that. It's like, no, F you, like, what? and it's like, but you do need time to digest, but, like, sometimes in that process, the friendship's lost, I've noticed, and I'm like, wait, what? Why didn't you just, like, let go of your ego, at least one of you, you know, and then just, like, kind of sort it. It was just so odd to me to see that. And what's cool about, like, when I was referencing my sister, is she's reconnected with some of those friends, which is kind of cool. So yeah, they were, like, gone, and then but they did eventually, years and years and years later, come back. But a lot of them were just, like, kind of gone. She stopped hanging out with them in high school and stuff, and that was that.
Yeah, that's hard. No, appreciate your answer on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so right into this one then. If you were to have a large group of people before you, and you were to share a life lesson, a bit of advice, something that you feel like people should know,
Mm-hmm.
what would you share?
It's got to go back to what I previously alluded to, in that we are always striving for like more money, like I guess greed. It's like I'd say chill out on the greed, because I've seen, back to what I said, people in poverty living like a way better life than you are mentally. Homie!
And pausing. Hey!
What's up? So we have our friends, Rakan, who we were talking about on the podcast.
If you're watching this is Rakan.
That's who we were talking about, which is amazing. Nice little impromptu visit, eh? Rakan shows up. That's unreal. That's fate. He's a real one.
Oh, that's great. All right, you definitely have to watch this now, guys.
Yeah, for real.
All right.
At the 40-minute mark, Rakan comes on. But yeah, I think what I would say and what I've learned is that happiness comes from the ability to like tap into the things, like recognize the things that we're struggling with, constantly find ways to like address those. It's an ongoing battle, never going to be easy, but that's how you find happiness. It's not by like keeping up with the Joneses. And now I know, like having traveled so much, it's just like you need barely anything. You know, these guys sleep in the desert. They make amazing food, but I'm sure it's like darn cheap to make, and they are happy, humorous, wonderful people, and that's in the majority of countries I've been to. So it's like chill out a bit on like that constant grind, work on self, everything else will come together.
For sure. Love that. Yeah. All right, guys, pay attention to that, plus the interjection.
Yeah.
What is something you wish people knew about your culture, however you would define that?
My culture. That's good. Definition of culture is difficult for me, because like I guess I'm like less educated on like my background. I did like a 23andMe. There's like Irish there, English, a little Spanish, but like I don't know too much past that. My grandfather was from Ireland. My nanny was from England. I guess that was taboo, but they got together in the war times. That was kind of cool. And then I guess what did I wish? And then like now I'm proud to be Canadian. You know what I mean? And that's all I've ever known. So what do I wish people knew about Canadians as a whole? Is that kind of where we're going with this? We can talk a little bit about like that struggle that we put on ourselves, much like the last question. Sorry, I keep going back to this, but it's just there, so why not? It's just like we've developed something that is like a necessity to always like get safe somehow, you know? And there's like a perfect path like already pre-planned for you when you enter the school system at kindergarten, and then you go all the way through to like 5th year university or 4th year university. It's like it's there for you. It's laid out. Your life is set, and here you go, and go live it. And it's like it's not the ideal life for me. And that's when I talk about like when you said what was the impactful moment in your life. It's like I could have gone that route for sure, and I was actually super close. If I didn't make that decision to just get on a plane, go to Shanghai, it's like I'm not like insightful like I am, or I wouldn't have realized what I do now, which is like I don't need comfort, you know. There'll be a point in my life where I don't know, hopefully my body never deteriorates, but I'm like, yeah, I should probably slow down a bit, but for now, like
if you figure that out, let us know.
Yeah, I just want to keep pushing. Like I did a free diving, my level 1, and you know lots about that, and holy was that like just the test of like what we're capable of like as humans, and it's stuff like that shape you, right? Because I was so worried I was just gonna like pass out and drift away under there sometimes, you know. So that was just crazy. And holding your breath, like I could hold my breath for like 20 seconds when I started that course, and then it was like 2 minutes, and then it was like close to 2 minutes with like doing this, like climbing down upside down on this line. Like there's a lot. What was the original question?
No, you're it was, what is something you wish people knew about your culture?
Oh wow, way off.
It's good.
So
yeah, no, we got value there. I love it.
We're too structured, and you need to try deviating. It might not be for you, but it certainly was for me.
I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
What is something you love most about your culture?
I love... These should be easy ones, but it's just like stuff I never think about. What do I love about my culture? Okay, I think what I love about my culture is there's like this like global consensus, like Canadians are like super kind or whatever, and everywhere I go, like I'm proud to say I'm Canadian. I don't have to like bite my tongue when I say it or anything in any country, and not to throw shade, I guess I should say, but like
you can throw it.
Yeah, sometimes people say like it's difficult if they're from the States and like to just openly interject that into the question or like tell people. Like sometimes they're like, I'd rather not, but like I always feel open and comfortable to say that I'm Canadian, and it always yields like a positive response. I'm not the one to credit for that. I don't know who actually shaped that like identity for us, but it's cool that like I'm from a country that like I want to buy a house in, and I want to retire in, and I want to be around my family, and like the landscape's beautiful, and there's a lot to do, a lot to see. The people, to go back on that, is everyone nice? There's some trippy people for sure, but like if we've been generalizing a bit on this pod, so yeah, like I have lifelong amazing friends. I'm sure it's everywhere in the world, but they are very, very kind, genuine people, and I'm proud to be one of those of those Canadians that are well received in this world.
We got a lot of Canadians on this trip, and you guys are all very nice.
Yeah, it is true. I wonder if
good.
it's just like these people. Or,
I haven't experienced any that are not, so we're gonna go with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
We like the generalization.
Yeah. It's a positive generalization.
Yeah, for sure. And like honestly, all it comes back to, I had this conversation with someone, is like what you're taught when you're growing up in terms of like manners. You know, it's like, so it's perceived to be positive, but it doesn't mean the person's different in what they're thinking. But like it's like they just come across better because of like what they're taught when they're younger. Whereas like if you're a bit more abrupt, like maybe some Americans, just like, I don't know, as an example, then if you come across as abrupt, then people are going to like take that maybe to heart a little bit more. Everyone's like ego driven and can get hurt a little bit, so like they just might be like, hey, that like chill. But it's like you're within the culture that, you know, if people always speak to you in one way, all of a sudden you get a shot fired from this direction, you're going to be like, that's off-putting. And sometimes some of my European friends always say that about themselves. It's like, we say things how it is. Canadians tiptoe around them.
Yeah.
And they're like, and because we say things how it is, people think that we're rude. First, it's our second language, so we don't have a big vocabulary, you know? And so they like have this whole spiel about like,
they're like,
why
we're not
actually
rude. We're just
like,
trying to figure
we're
it
good
out.
people.
Yeah. I think it is. It's very much like that perception, because like, as both of us who've experienced multiple cultures, like there are things that could be offensive in a whole nother country to us, but it's normal. And so I think that is true, in that yeah, for sure, I can appreciate that.
Before you ask that, we should check out it's running.
I completely forgot.
Yeah, hour 12.
We're almost done. You only got a couple left.
Okay, awesome. This is great.
Sorry, I'm like squinting hardcore. The sun on this side is reflecting massively.
Yeah, I'm
off
happy
of
I
it.
have the sun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, let's finish this off.
There we go.
Okay.
In that vein, then, is there anything within your culture that you're not so proud of?
That I'm not so proud of. Did we do this one before?
No, something
No,
you wish people knew. Actually, I feel like you kind of answered that a little bit with that earlier.
There was like one about culture and then another one about culture. What was the first
two.
one? Yeah,
that was the second one. You already the first one was, what is something you wish people knew about your culture?
Oh, you're right.
But you kind of answered a little of that. So
well, let's hear it again. So what's the question about culture this time?
Is there anything about your culture that you're not proud of?
That I'm not proud
But I feel
of.
like as I asked that you did that, so let's just skip that.
I do. Yeah, I would actually. What came to mind was like the homelessness.
Yeah. Okay.
I would talk about homelessness and how like we're not really taking the proper steps.
I'm gonna jump that one then.
Okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay. Do you feel like you know what your purpose is in life?
Ask again. I was squishing the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you know what your purpose is in life?
We touched on this a little bit, like as it is an ongoing pursuit. I think I wish I knew right here, right now, because like you know me, I want clarity, I want direction. I seek advice a lot on that topic. I think inwardly about it. I think about like writing like a short film on it. It would all just be like the means to like an eventual, hopefully finding it, you know. But do I know the purpose in my life? If I had to say right now, would be to inspire people and allow them to be the best version of themselves through my words and actions.
I love that. It's very concise. That was a really well put.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Love that. All right, I know you have the one that you just talked about a little bit, but do you have a favorite tattoo, and if so, why?
Okay, yeah, we talked a little bit about the tattoo. It's my only. I'm scared to get another because this one was so... this one just like worked out so good. And I was scared to get inked because I'm like, oh, you know, I don't need one. You know, my body doesn't need ink on it. So I went in with like this really minimal design, like super minimal, and he was like, actually, it needs to be bigger. And I was like, how much bigger? And he pulls up the design and everything. I'm like, oof,
that's big.
And he's like, and then I kind of want to do my own things, and like, because I am who I am, I'm like, okay, trust, like, let's go. And 3 hours later, I didn't look once during like the whole process. I was just like so stoked. I was like super hype on it, just because like home is important, to have a home, right? So because of that, that's what my tattoo is. Like, that's the significance of it. It's like I always have a home. My family's always there for me, even though I'm constantly traveling. They don't always get to see me. I don't always get to see them and be a part of like my nieces and nephews' life as much as the rest of them, you know. But they're very understanding, very accepting, and to know I always have a home there is super special.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. No, that's cool. Yeah, and it came out amazing. Looks awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Super cool. What is something you've accomplished that you are really proud of?
Of late, and we talked about this a little bit, it's got to be that free diving course. You know, like I was like, it was like at the beginning of like when I talk about this identity shift that I'm having, it was like at the beginning of that, and it almost like things seem futile, and I would procrastinate a lot and be like, business isn't going so well, and like, you know, am I ever gonna like pull this all together? And ironically enough, it wasn't really a creator's trip. It was nothing to do with photography, videography. Brought my cameras, had some fun, but it was the experience and something like completely out of left field. My friend just runs these retreats, and he's like, yo, come, and I checked it out, and it ended up like really shaping my life, because like I always go back to it. I'm always thinking about it, and just like I'm kind of proud of myself for being able to overcome in such a quick amount of time, something that like kind of always feared a little bit. And like I never thought I would have done free diving. I did my scuba diving, and that was great. So I did have a little bit of experience there. But you know, when people just say I can't, they say no, or I can't, or you're so amazing, I could never do that. That's a common one. When they say that, it's like, and people say, no, don't phrase it like that. It's just like, you haven't tried. And they go, no, like literally, I can't hold my breath, or my ears won't equalize, you know? And like, I've tried, you know? I was in Thailand, I did the beginner course, and I had to bow out. It's like, yeah, but maybe it's just a little bit more challenging to you than like the normal person. And yeah, you got to allow yourself to like struggle. And like, and if it takes you longer, which I'm finding sometimes in my business, I feel like things are taking longer than some other people that I'm seeing online. That's okay, you know, because like back to then, you can't lose, right? If you stay consistent, like that's just so important. I remind myself of that. Proud of myself for doing the course. Taught me what I'm capable of mentally, and unlocked like a new level of like, okay, well let's go further then, you know. Not specifically in freediving, though I would do my level 2 for sure, and face those fears again, but more like generally. It's like, well, now I know how difficult that was, and I was able to overcome. Maybe I can do the same in my business. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that's super cool. I love the correlation, and just like the pushing and the physical aspect, how it relates to the mental aspect, and that like, not just saying you can't, but figuring out maybe it's harder for me, maybe I'm working more at it, but like I'm going to get it. And that's so very much how you've pursued life of like, yeah, like, I don't, if I'm going to work at it, but I'm going to figure it out.
That's right.
So yeah, that's awesome. Matty, you are just such an awesome human being.
Thank you so much.
You are so incredible.
Well.
And I've just so appreciated the time we've had so far, getting to know you, getting to learn from you. And just all the time we still have yet to go on this trip. And I just appreciate sitting down with you and everything you've shared. But is there anything else you want others to know about who you are or what matters to you?
No, I think we really discussed everything, and thanks for allowing me to be vulnerable. Like, this is really cool. First pod ever, deeper than I was expecting, but like just awesome. And and likewise, like, thank you for having me on this trip. It's been incredible, and like you say, we got more time together, so no need to shed a tear quite yet.
Not yet.
But I appreciate you, and thanks for having me on my first pod ever.
Thanks for being on.
Right.
All right.
Should
Cheers.
we hug it out?
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you for tuning in to Your Fellow Human. Your reviews and support allow me to continue to share these incredible stories with the world. Please take a minute and write a review or share an episode on social media and tag me in the show. If you learned something, were impacted by this story, or if this episode changed how you see humanity, I would be so honored to hear from you. I just want to thank you for being a beautiful part of my community here. Sincerely, your fellow human.